What's up, everybody? Welcome back to RacingNews.com. Welcome back to another one of our previews. Let's go out to Del Mar for this one. It's the Bing Crosby Stakes, Grade 1 event, going 6 furlongs. It's going to be race 10 on the card there at Del Mar. A Breeders' Cup winning you're in for the sprint. Field of 9. Now, let's do it. Let's go through them one by one here. Pick you out a winner at the end. Number 1, Maximum Bourbon, if I could speak, Maximum Bourbon, to kick us off here. A horse that is coming in from Churchill Downs after winning a stakes race last time out and doing it pretty impressively by 5 3/4 lengths. Just kind of took it to him early and went gate to wire. The problem is that was all the way back to April 30th. So we're coming off of a layoff here. That's a little bit worrisome in a race that I think is pretty darn good and pretty darn evenly matched. But it's a good horse. You know, winner 3 of the last 4. The only race this horse lost was an allowance race back in March at Fairgrounds to Built. And Built is a horse I kind of like in another race across the country called the Vanderbilt at Saratoga this weekend. So, not ashamed to lose there. And Built actually, this horse, Maximum Bourbon, was able to beat Built at Churchill Downs on an April 30th race. So I like this horse. I think this is a pretty good one. I think he's in there with a shot. I do worry about the layoff. That is the big worry for me in this spot. The number 2 is Listen Up Chance. And this is a horse that the last time we saw him, all he was doing was running third, only beating 3/4 of the length of 2 of the best sprinters in the country, Bookham Dano and Ben Tornado. And of course, Bookham Dano was a winner last week at Monmouth. Ben Tornado, I haven't seen him since I believe he's on the shelf right now after that race there in the True North at Saratoga. But anyway, Listen Up Chance, very good effort in that one. He also was second, beating 2 3/4, 3 races back to Cornucopian. So pretty competitive with him as well. He'll show up. He'll run his race. I have no doubt he's going to be up on the lead, and I think he could prove tough to catch. So it'll be very interesting to see if he can get the job done here. The number 3 is Dr. Venkman. This horse has been around what feels like forever now, but only 13 starts. I was kind of surprised. Dr. Venkman, now a six-year-old horse. It feels like he should have more than 13, but he's had a lot of injuries throughout his career. Look, Del Mar's kind of where he started to make a name for himself when he won the San Diego at a mile and 16th way back in 2024. And then he won the Pat O'Brien in 2025. That's last year here at Del Mar as well. He was 4th in the Bing Crosby last year. And look, I think you come into this race and I think he's kind of going to be around. He was 3rd in the Breeders' Cup Sprint over this track. So he loves this track. I think he's going to show up and run well. Can he get all the way up for the win? That's going to be the big question. But I think definitely number 3, Dr. Venkman, is in with a big shot in this one. The number 4, For All Mankind. This horse is coming off of a second-place effort at Lone Star in a stakes race last time out. 2 races back at Santa Anita, an allowance, finished second behind Crude Velocity. Well, that's a pretty good horse to finish second behind. 3 races back, and an allowance was 4th at Santa Anita as well. I think For All Mankind, very, very much up against it in this spot. The number 5 is Stronghold. Stronghold coming into this race off of a 2.5 length victory in the Triple Bend last time out. Really impressive effort there. Also won an allowance at Oakland Park. I say won, he dead heated an allowance with Ben Doog at Oakland Park going a mile and a 16th. However, I kind of think this 7 furlong distance is exactly where this horse needs to be. 3 races back in the Pat O'Brien, which was right here in 2025. That was August of 2025. He was second, only beating a half length to Dr. Venkman. However, that was off of a long layoff. We hadn't seen him since the Pegasus World Cup before that. So he's had trouble staying on the track. You go back to another one-turn race where he looked very good. The Malibu back in 2024, he ran second, only beating a length and a quarter off of another layoff behind Raging Torrent, who was a pretty good horse. He finished ahead of Imagination, who was a pretty good horse. I guess the point I'm trying to make in one-turn races, he's been pretty good, and now you get him in a one-turn race where he isn't coming off a layoff, coming into one of these bigger races. I think we're going to see the best version of him in this spot, and I think that's going to make him awfully tough to beat. So I really like number 5, a Stronghold, in this one. Number 6, Cornucopian, another horse I think just really benefits from going 6 furlongs. I think that's the main distance he needs to be running out. Of course, this horse broke the maiden at Oaklawn going 6 furlongs and tried the Arkansas Derby and set one of the fastest paces I've ever seen for the Arkansas Derby and faded. And then that kind of ruined him. He's second in an allowance at Aqueduct, had to regroup completely, came back in January of this year, won a allowance going 6.5, then won the San Carlos, then tried a really tough Churchill Downs Stakes where he was 5th, and then got dragged back to 6 furlongs, back to a grade 3 event and won. I think he's in a real good spot here. I like him in this spot going 6. I think with him, the key is just to let him roll. I don't really think he wants to be rated. I think he just wants to run, and so you got to let him do it. And I think he'll be really, really tough to beat in this spot if he runs that kind of race. Number 7 is Gold Sweep. Gold Sweep coming off a 4th place effort. Got beat by Harrodsburg, Built, and UW last time out at Churchill Downs. He was also beaten 2 races back by Cornucopian in the Aristides. And look, I think this is a nice horse. I think when he runs up against the best horses or better, top echelon, let's say, horses in the division, I think he tends to run 3rd or 4th. And I think that's kind of his ceiling in this spot today. The number 8 is Madhouse, another horse that was beaten by Cornucopian last time out in the Aristides. He was 5th, beaten 8 lengths there. Did win the Count Fleet 2 races back. And that was a big upset at 9-1 that day in the Count Fleet. He beat Roland Big Joe, a horse that's really tough to beat at Oaklawn Park. Madhouse was able to do it. Now, he was able to do it by going to the front, just like he did 3 races back at Tampa when he won an allowance race. He is speed. He wants to go to the front. I don't think he's going to have an easy trip if he tries to do that. The 8 can go. That's Madhouse, but also the 1 can go. The 2 can go. And I think Cornucopian's going to be up there kind of close as well. I kind of think it's going to be pretty fast up there. I don't think that Madhouse is going to get the right kind of trip to pull off another upset in this spot. And then finally, the number 9 is Moonlight. Moonlight is a horse that's been running longer races, a mile and a 16th type of races, and not doing very well in those efforts. He did win last year to end his season, a mile race at Churchill Downs, and did it pretty impressively there by a length and a half. I don't know. The 6 furlong thing is kind of interesting. You have to go. I mean, you can't find a 6 furlong race. You can find some 1-turn, 1 mile races like what we just talked about, but that's the shortest this horse has been. This horse is by Audible out of a Tappet mare, so it doesn't really scream 6 furlongs. But you know what does scream 6 furlongs? Peter Miller. This horse will go over to the Peter Miller barn here. This was one that was with Pletcher for a while, then was with Chris Block, and now with Peter Miller. So maybe he thinks, let's try to sprint the horse and see what happens. It's not for me in this one. I think this horse kind of needs to prove himself on the sprint level, even though it is Peter Miller. I still don't think that's going to be the deciding factor here. I'm looking elsewhere in this spot. But the Moonlight, maybe one to circle now in the Miller barn. He might get it figured out and win one with him down the road. All right, that is the field of 9 for this year's Bing Crosby. I'm going number 5, Stronghold on top. I think there's going to be enough pace. I think he's a horse that's going to sit close to the pace, but not so close that he's going to get burned up. I think he's going to get first run on the leaders. And I think he's coming in off with a chance to run his absolute best race. He's had so many injuries since we saw him all through his 3-year-old season. He's just had trouble staying on the track. This will be his 3rd straight start, and we haven't seen him run 3 straight races since he started, since his debut race back in 2023. Now, he strung together a bunch of races there, but since that, he ran in the Pennsylvania Derby as a 3-year-old. He ran 2 races, had to have a break. He ran a race, had to have a break. Now 2 races. This will be the 3rd in the form cycle. I think we're going to see his best. So give me the number 5 Stronghold on top in this one. I'm excited to see what he does. I like Cornucopian, the number 6 as well. So I've got Cornucopian in 2nd. I think he'll run very well. Number 3, Dr. Venkman, 2nd off the layoff here. I think he'll improve and run very well as well. And then the number 2, Listen Up Chance in 4th. He's just been classy. He's been up against some classy horses and running close to him. I think he'll do the same thing in this one. So 5, 6, 3, 2 in this year's running of the Bing Crosby. 5, 6, 3, 2. All right, guys. Thanks everybody for watching this video. Hit that like button if you like it. Subscribe. You really like it. Want to get alerting time. We do videos like this. And most importantly, good luck if you are betting Del Mar on Saturday.